making extra CO2 using sugar and yeast is a good idea, but one thing to keep in mind is that it has a limited lifespan. What happens is that as the yeast converts to sugar, it produces alcohol, and the alcohol eventually kills off all the yeast. This might happen in a week or so. What you have to do is to, at the very least, smell your CO2 chambers from time to time and see if it smells of alcohol, and at that point you're probably past due changing it. Now you can see on this container here there is foam on the top. This is yeast actively working on the sugar in the water. I just made these yesterday. This particular thing, it's a juice jar with about maybe 2/3 of a cup of sugar and a teaspoon of yeast in it. I'm actually going to make probably a weekly schedule for replacing these particular things. I've been noticing uneven growth on various trays of things. This is a tray of salad mix, which is doing pretty well, but it seemed like I was getting better growth kind of on the outside and not so much on the inside. So it occurred to me that maybe air circulation is having something to do with this, as well as the potential lack of CO2. So what I've done about this is I've taken this cheap old fan I had laying around the house and laid it down at the bottom of my growing area. So the white knob you see on the right hand side there is actually a fan control that I built into a box a long time ago. So when I set up this fan, I found that it was necessary to turn the fan to its high speed and then use the motor control. But you can see from this, and the idea here is that carbon dioxide is heavier than air, so it will tend to sink to the bottom. And what I'm hoping is that it will pick up any CO2 that hits the ground. And you can kind of see here that this aluminum foil on the side is moving, and that's because the air is blowing up. And at the top here I have one of my larger CO2 containers in the form of this gallon jar. So hopefully this fan is producing kind of a circular pattern just within the growing area that will circulate the CO2 that's coming out of the various chambers that I have.